Hey there, Bracy here. So, yeah, sorry I'm not looking so great. I'm trying something new. I'm doing a vlog as soon as I wake up, right before I go for my run. I wanted to kind of use it as like a set my intentions kind of thing. Usually, if you saw my earlier video on my morning routine, usually it's wake up, run, cold shower, meditation, and that's how I get my day started. But today I realized I forgot to charge my watch. So I'm having that charge and I was like, hey, while that's charging, let me try something. But I have no idea how I look, so this could be awful. I apologize if I look like I woke up 5 minutes ago, because it's basically what happened. But yeah, so I think I'm going to focus today on tweaking the qpvr prototype that I have for 6 people, getting it ready for meeting this coming week. And that means that once I get that ready, I'm also going to have to go to my friends over at Future Reality Lab and get a new headset, because one of the headsets, the controller just stopped working. I don't understand why, but I want to make sure that I've got all 6 running in parallel. And this will be a good chance to test out the experience over at the Future Reality Lab. So I want to get that done today, as well as stepping a little further down into another project. Also have to get this. So I created this quick narrative called Marty, where it's basically you're looking around, you hear something, you look at it and the world changes, and then you hear something else, you look at it, the world changes. That's the whole process. It's nothing crazy. But yeah, I had originally done it with the mechanic being something that... So, I hear something. The dreamscape technique that I had started working on, it did something with the virtual reality equivalent of a match cut. So in film, if you're watching a character, they're in one space, they look one way, they look another, and then when you cut, you do a match cut to what you're expecting, but it's a whole different world. Like, you pull away from the thing that you expect to see, and you realize that you've just shifted into a different world. I think a good example is in The Matrix. Neo would look one way and he'd look another way, and he's in a different world, and he didn't know how he got in that world. I knew that now that we have VR, something that can change the world in front of our eyes, that this was possible to experience now, that you could be just looking around and it would shift you from one space to the next without you realizing. So I worked on this maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, well, I've been doing this for a little while. A little over 3 years ago, probably. And I had done this was before I knew how to program anything. I was really just like ham-fisting it on the Unity program. But eventually we get to the point where we have the Quest or other 6DoF capable headsets. And if you don't know, 3DoF means that you can do rotation, 3 degrees of rotation. And then 6DoF is 3 degrees of rotation and also 6 degrees of movement. So you can move your head on the X, Y, and Z dimensional axis. So once you could move around in 6DoF, 6 degrees of freedom, you needed a new technique, because the match cut was no longer going to be perfect the way that I had done it. Like, I had to meticulously set it up so everything would align, and essentially what was happening was you as the experiencer would teleport from space to space, and each space that you went to, the trigger that teleported you, I matched exactly what you saw in the last space that you were in. So when you turned, all of a sudden you got a new reveal, which was kind of fun because it was invisible. You never saw when one area changed to the next area, and it was always exciting. And then I had to do this for a 6DoF, and you can't do that anymore. So I started playing with shaders, which was another thing I had fun with. when I first got involved in Unity development for virtual reality was the idea of stencils, basically, or coming from a background in After Effects, masks, using shapes to reveal something underneath that thing. And I very quickly stumbled into this area of, well, what if there is a parallel reality that you are revealing through these shapes? And playing with this ultimately became the heart of what qpvr is, but doing it with shaders and stencils and being able to reveal other spaces with objects or masks and things like that allowed you to do a transition that could involve more than just one person, and it also allowed you to move around. So all this to say, the narrative experience that I was creating, called Marty, it was starting to utilize this, but it wasn't as fun because, first of all, it's not as surprising as the original Dreamscaping project that I had done, but also the way that I had done it, it's just like these huge chunks, pizza chunks that like show up out of nowhere, and you like look in a direction, and then all of a sudden the world looks like whatever that pizza chunk, that pizza slice of the world was. So that's how you would transition from space to space to space. That wasn't nearly as successful, as nearly as interesting. So where I ended up going is just like basically starting a transition. When you look at something and it's time to transition, you trigger what is essentially like a big wipe. I don't know how to say I can't remember the name of the transition when you're in editing, where it's just like a circle and it fills out. Yeah, well, anyway, I'm trying. This is early in the morning. We'll see if this is of any value later on, but I think I'm gonna call it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.